straighten out my camera here a little bit, guys. I decided to come on today because I haven't been on in a while, and I wanted to make sure I gave an update because I know there are people starting to follow. We're right at 1,000 followers, and I expect that number to keep increasing. So make sure you like and share and subscribe. If you're watching this video, make sure you're always liking and sharing. Anyway, as you guys know, the people who haven't ever been here, I'll introduce myself, but the ones who know, you know. My name is Darren, and this is my channel where I'm speaking about our move from the United States to South Africa. This is Buckner Family Travels, and we're going to be traveling and moving to South Africa this year. That's right, folks, this year. And I want to talk to you about our journey on the move. I've given you some details and a lot of different things, so if you haven't seen it, make sure you go back and watch some of the videos, because I am in the United States and I need people to see some of the real side, some of the, the things you have to do in order to get there. So before I move forward, again, if you haven't already liked this video, go ahead and like it now. That helps the algorithm, and make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date to what's going on here with the Buckner family and what we're going to do, because this information is going to help a lot of people. It's going to help people that are looking to move, whether it be to Africa, South Africa in particular, or whether it be someplace else around the world, because there are a lot of us leaving the States. We're starting to find that the world is our backyard. That's the way I like to put it. The world is our backyard. I'm coming to you driving. Trust me, I'm being safe. I got it mounted on my windshield, so of course, I could make sure I'm, paying attention to the road. And of course, I'm going to look at the camera here and there, but of course, it's right here in my windshield so I can see, so you guys can trust that I'm being safe out here on the road. I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia, and I have a trailer on the back, if you can see through my truck. And my brother, Courtney, is actually, if you guys can see him, he's in front of me with another trailer. For folks who didn't know, we are from Atlanta originally, but I live currently in Florida. And I'll tell you why and where I'm heading. First of all, I'm heading someplace where as property is still reasonably priced. My mom still lives there. I still have other family there, like my sister, one of my younger sisters. Aunts and uncles and all that kind of good stuff. They live in the Midwest. They live in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, why do I have trailers going to St. Louis, Missouri? Well, that's because I've purchased property in St. Louis, Missouri. I purchased property in St. Louis, Missouri because of the price. If you listen to different YouTubers and whatnot, and folks around the country, investors and whatnot, there are a lot of different places you can invest. And I remember this friend of mine named Tim, he would always say, man, buy where you can afford it. Yeah, I could buy some rental properties probably here in Atlanta, get a mortgage on them and whatnot, and make sure I get a decent property. But I went to St. Louis to go visit my mom maybe 3 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. I was in St. Louis. Now I started looking around and looking at property and looking at the prices of property for these really nice properties. They're brick homes. A lot of them are 2, 3 bedrooms. A lot of them have 1 bath because they're really old homes, mainly built in the 1800s and 1900s. But they make great rental property. We all know that as long as people exist, they're always going to be looking for shelter. So for me, it makes sense to invest in rental property. Invest in commercial property, invest in a home for yourself, because ultimately that's what's going to build you wealth, and it can also set you on the road to financial freedom, at least be one of the vehicles that you invest your money in, so you can have that set as a road to financial freedom. Most people that move to the continent of Africa are not allowed to work. So for people who think you can just go there and get a job, you're probably not going to be allowed to work unless you got some type of specialty visa, maybe for critical skills or something like that. You're bringing a critical skill. Now, you can open a business if if you have this so-called official businesses, I guess, through the government, NGOs and whatnot, a lot of times there's certain investments involved, and they're usually pretty high cost investments, which is why a lot of times you don't see a lot of African Americans over there doing it. And then some of the other work that's done there by the other folks, maybe the Chinese, whatever, a lot of their work is done, and you can see the videos for yourself. This is not me saying, and I haven't seen it personally, but I believe it to be true. They'll open up illegal businesses, like especially in West Africa, and I hear in Tanzania and whatnot, and they'll open up illegal mining businesses and whatnot. And I've watched different reports on the news, not just YouTube, there, where they had to kick people out, and they polluted water, they were paying people low wages, all that kind of good stuff. Well, for me as an African American, as we want to say, I have a whole different view on that. First of all, I don't want to poison my own people, so I'm not going to do a mine illegally and poison my people, because, you know, if you African, you my people, and if you African, I'm your people. So, you know, y'all can dispute it all you want, but that's the motherland, and I'm not really fully accepted here in the United States. I am tolerated here in the United States, just as most of us are, if not really all of us. Remember, we were brought here on a ship, and it wasn't voluntary. So we didn't come here on our own wishes. It's our ancestors were here. They were brought here, and our great-great-great-grandparents had kids, and our great-great-great-grandparents had kids, and, you know, hey, this is where we ended up. And we're Americans now, but we're still from Africa. So you my people, I'm your people. So, you know, if you don't like that, hey, I understand. You can get off the channel. You know what I'm saying? You can make a horrible comment and say something stupid if you want. That's fine. I don't care, really, to be honest, because I know who I am and I know where I'm from. So anyway, yeah, guys. So I'm heading to St. Louis, Missouri, because I'm going to put together some properties. I have a trailer full of tools, because in case you guys didn't know, I have a background in building. I flip homes, I renovate homes for other people, and while I used to own a whole lot of rental properties when I lived in Detroit, Michigan, when the financial crash of 2007 or 8, I think it was, a lot of that property I pretty much lost on it, and I had to let a lot of it go, because it was costing me more money to have the property than it was to get rid of them. That's when I would take a lot of mortgages out on properties and whatnot. But now, you know, I'm doing a little better. So what we do is we go and we look for these properties where, even if we do pull some type of mortgage, we make sure it's a small mortgage that's very manageable. Otherwise, we pay cash for our properties, and that puts us in a position of freedom. Whereas these properties have been sitting vacant now for almost 2 months, but hey, I don't have to make a payment. I keep the heat real low because it's cold in St. Louis, and I make an electricity payment, and that's about it. And when I go up here and I fix these properties up, my goal is to bring in enough income from these properties to support my lifestyle on the continent of Africa, particularly, once again, South Africa. For you guys who didn't know, you can go on the sites, and I think in order to qualify a retirement visa for South Africa, you have to meet certain guidelines have to be in place. Like, you have to have a certain amount of income, proven and shown income, all certified. It has to be legit income, but it can't be from working. It has to be passive income, so it has to be like a pension, maybe some company you're part of, and you get dividend payments for the rest of your life. Maybe a company you own, and the company, makes you get dividends from your company, and it distributes money for the rest of your life. But I'm not sure of that. You have to ask an attorney, but it has to be something to that effect. It has to be passive. Retirement funds, military, whatever. You can't have real estate, which is the route we're going to go, because it's a little early for us to really, really retire. We work still, and those are the things we have to do. So for you folks who are looking for opportunity and you're trying to figure out, man, how can I actually move to the continent and be able to afford it? I'm driving slow, guys, because I'm in Atlanta traffic, in case It's the middle of the day. It's not rush hour. It's about 12 o'clock. And traffic is slow. I'm on a freeway with 4 lanes. And matter of fact, this freeway has 5 lanes. And it's still packed. Atlanta in the middle of the day. And I can't even imagine being on the other side of Atlanta, because I hear Vice President Kamala Harris is in town going to some of the universities and doing some speaking. She has to make a couple of stops. It's supposed to be sometime in the middle of the day, like 1 o'clock, and then she's leaving, going back to the airport by 5. I can't even imagine. It's probably going to be a standstill. There's going to be no cars coming through, always convoys and stuff, so it's going to be tough out there. But anyway, yeah, this is Atlanta traffic. But anyway, back to the whole investments. If you're young and you want to invest and money's an issue, then you have to start thinking about what it is you can afford. You know, I know everyone doesn't have the ability to be able to take out large loans for properties. But believe it or not, you can go to the Midwest. You can go to cities like Cleveland. You can go to cities like Baltimore. You can go to cities like St. Louis, Kansas City. And while these aren't the most so-called glamorous cities in the country, places where people are just running to, although that's kind of not true. As a matter of fact, I found out St. Louis was number 11. That's according to U-Haul. In one-way trips, people taking trucks and trailers to St. Louis. It was number 11 in the United States as far as most moved to cities, according to U-Haul, like I said. But a lot of times you can go to these other cities, and what you do is you, if you work in an online job, or if you work for one of the bigger companies that you can transfer to someplace in St. Louis where they would have you, or someplace in Ohio, Cleveland, you know, Akron, Ohio, whatever, Baltimore, Maryland, certain parts of Baltimore, that is. These neighborhoods aren't always the most desirable if you're one of those folks who makes really good money, or even if you make medium money and you kind of don't want to live in what we call the hood here. But the thing is, there are people still who need a place to live. So if you can keep your property up, and you get management companies to manage the property, if you have family members that you trust that can manage your property, that's cool too. But if you got management companies, a lot of times, you know, they can take care of making sure rent is collected, make sure that money goes in your account every month. They can make sure if a tenant's not paying, the letters and whatnot go to where they need to go to. Let me pause for a minute because that's my brother calling me. I'm gonna pause and I'll come right back. And I'm back. Sorry about that. Anyway, guys, like I was saying, properties in those towns, they're more affordable. So it's stuff you can actually buy. So if you're here in the United States and you're looking to move to Africa, and you need to make sure you have extra income, real estate is one of the ways to go. You know, if you keep your rent reasonable and you make sure your tenants are screened, you know, you can't do anything about all of them. A lot of people are going to just mess up your property, and it happens. It's part of the deal. You got to make sure you have enough money put aside or save, whereas when that kind of stuff does happen, you can, you know, still eat. You don't want that to be like, oh, that's all the money I have, and I can't pay my own rent while I'm in Africa. You don't want to do anything silly like that, because then at that point you're really just living paycheck to paycheck. So you don't want to be a paycheck to paycheck type individual. And like I said, jobs, you're not going to go over there and just land a job in most cases unless you're critical skills. And then depending on what kind of visa you have, you may not even be allowed to have a job there, because it makes sense. You'll be taking jobs from locals, and, you know, I don't think that's cool. Now, if you're starting a business and you're creating jobs, hey, that's great. That's different, but you don't want to be there. You don't want to go someplace taking jobs. I know here in the States, people complain all the time, in my industry especially. Mexicans, pretty much, at least in the South, they own the construction industry now. And I remember there was a time where it was mainly black men owning the construction industry. We did all the drywall, the tile. We did, you know, plumbing, the electrical. And yeah, they came in and their prices were lower. They were willing to, live a little bit, I don't want to say, bad, but they, somebody like myself I'm used to a certain lifestyle, and some of the other tradesmen make good money. They're used to living a certain lifestyle, and then you have to compete against someone who comes in, and they may come in half the price you're coming in at, and that just makes it really tough. So, you start lowering your price, and next thing you know, it's a race to the bottom. So you start finding other things to do. So you got to think about that. If you're going someplace else, you don't want to go someplace else and do the same thing that you feel like has been done to you here. So you want to make sure you have an income, and you want to keep an eye on your business if you have a business here in the States, because things are changing rapidly. When I say they're changing rapidly, they're changing rapidly. The economy is not doing as great as some would think it is. Or I'll say, sometimes you could be for someplace else, and you'll think that, we're doing good. But a lot of people here are struggling. And I don't even know if it's just black Americans. That's who I talk to. I deal with black folks, so I don't know a whole lot about what white folks are doing or Hispanics are doing or whatever. But a lot of black Americans, they're struggling right now. You have some that are doing well. You know who they are because you see them on Instagram, because they're always flaunting and showing off what they got. But even them, they're struggling. A lot of them are living hand to mouth. And with the way things are going, I just heard today that my brother was telling me, we were talking about how it is predicted that the net worth of the average African-American family by 2053, I think it is, by 2053, will be zero. Yeah, I said zero, the number zero. It'll be zero. And let's think about that for a moment, because I know you're probably thinking, well, that won't be me. If you're African-American, you're watching this, you know, it won't be me. I'm going to raise my hand too. Oh, it won't be me. It won't be me. But there are going to be a lot of us that will actually be there. We're really not far from there now. I think the average African American is worth about $7,000 USD. That's really no money compared to the rest of the people in the United States. The rest of the people in the United States, Asians, Hispanics, whites, of course, they're all like, I think white Americans, their net worth went down since 2008 and hasn't really recovered much. But it was over $100,000. And I think at that time, ours was about, black people, it was about 12,000. And I think white people now, if I remember correctly, the average net worth is 75,000. So the economy's taking a toll on everyone a little bit. So if we're at 7,000 now, I don't want you to think that's far from zero. That zero could happen real fast. Your net worth could be zero real fast. So if you're like a lot of Americans, especially black Americans, you don't even have $400 in the bank for the emergency fund. So you have to start thinking of other things you can do. And real estate is one of those things that can help. Not that a person that has real estate won't be affected, because they can be affected too. And I'll tell you how. If I own property, and most of my property is in a black community, and the average net worth is zero, or goes down to zero, how are they going to buy my property? How are they going to rent my property? If I run a business, excuse me guys, I got to be careful, I still got to watch the road. If I run a business and my main consumer are people that look like me, and their net worth is heading down to zero by 2053, then who's going to buy my products? So where does that place me? Another reason why I'm making my exit. I mean, if you're not doing it for spiritual reasons to go to Africa, if nothing else, black folks, you got to go there, because that's where everything is heading. I mean, everyone else has figured it out, and apparently we the only ones that haven't figured it out. I mean, black people tell me, they come on my channel all the time. Y'all know who y'all are, because y'all gonna make comments probably. And they come on my channel, and then they'll say things like, you know, oh, this is my home, and my ancestors, they bones are buried here. We built this. I hear you, but you know, they also built the prison too. But you know, I don't want to be in prison because they built it. And not only that, we got to open up our minds. We gotta know that this is a global society. So you don't want to be so short-minded or short-sighted about life that you only thinking about you, and you're not even thinking about your kids. This move is not even really for me. I'm going to benefit from the move. This move is for my son, Brother Malcolm. This move is for my daughters, who I hope will join, but they're grown. Once again, I can't go back in time and make things, you know, make things work, whereas they just automatically go. But I want my son to be there in this new renaissance, this new economy, this new world, I think, economic shift that's going on right now. We know about BRICS. BRICS, another form of currency where they're trying to get away from the USD. They're trying to get away from the US dollar. You guys know about that. And if you don't know about it, look it up. It's BRICS, BRICS. And it's for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. I think I just heard Mali. It might have been Mali. There's another country that said they're on board. The country of Saudi Arabia has already met with the president of China. I think that was about maybe a month or two ago. And they said they are open to a new currency, another fiat. So they're considering it. I don't think they jumped on board yet. But that means I don't think the USD dollar, I don't think the US dollar will go away. But I do understand that when you have that kind of shift in the economies, these global economies, it is going to mean there's going to be some struggling. There's going to be some struggling for people in the United States. It's no longer going to be the economic superpower of the world, because they won't control all the currency. There'll be other currencies that are very, you know, that are very strong against the US dollar. And I think it's going to be the BRICS that's going to be the one. We're seeing these alliances, these countries are forming, even doing military exercises together. I don't want to get too much into the political side of it. So if you're not leaving for anything else, maybe you should at least think about economically and think about the future of your children, your children's children. You don't want them to be on a sinking ship. I'm looking at the United States right now, and it looks like a slow-moving train wreck. The prices are high. The people don't really have any money. Artificial intelligence is taking over. The country is older than most countries. It's not like Africa, where the average age is probably about 20 years old. The population is shrinking, just like a lot of European countries, just like the Japanese and even the Chinese. I think the Chinese just reported this is the first time they actually had a population decline in years. So they just recently had a population decline. So, you know, the future is definitely Africa. You want to be a part of the future, you better get on board and get on over to South Africa, get over to Tanzania, get over to Kenya, get over to Uganda, Namibia, Ghana, Nigeria, wherever you got to go. Wherever you feel like you'll fit in best, go visit, go check it out. You got plenty of people out here doing tours, so you can go visit and check them out. And you can go, man. You can go check it out for yourself. I'm not making this up, guys. And then you come here and you make a plan for yourself through real estate, through investments, whether it be different businesses, small business opportunities, working with other businesses. Find ways to make money. Find ways to save money. Quit spending your money on nonsense. You don't have to go get the newest Benz or even the newest iPhone every time one comes out. Save that money. Use that money towards something. Invest that money in something that's going to make you money. So, you know, let's keep all that in mind. So that's why I'm on the road. So I'm doing what it takes. This is about a 9-hour drive, heading to St. Louis. I'm doing what it takes. I left my wife and my son there in Florida, taking care of themselves right now, because I'm doing what it takes. And my wife understands, and my son understands. And me as a man of the house, I want to make sure that my family is taken care of. So I'm going to do what it takes. So if I got to drive here, you know, put these properties together, if I got to sleep in the property, make sure it's warm. Unfortunately, I don't have to because mom lives up there. But if I did, I would. I actually would. I would sleep in the property. Fix me up a room, make sure it's warm in there, make sure I got something to eat. And that's it, man. And work on that property until it's done. You know, bust those knuckles. You know, invest in yourself. You invest a lot of time into other people. I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say one time, he said, you know, we go to these jobs a lot of times and we put in 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and a lot of us even do overtime. He said, imagine if you spend 8 hours a day on yourself, doing business for yourself. Imagine 8 hours a day of something that you do well, and you spend 8 hours a day doing it for yourself. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. You guys hear the phone in the background. That's the wife. Hold on one second. All right, there we go. I'll have to call her back because I wanted to make sure I finish with my YouTube family. My time is just about up, guys, anyway. We're about 26, 27 minutes in. Again, this is Buckner Family Travels. I hope you like. I hope you subscribe. I hope I gave some valuable information and some inspiration. I really hope I did. And if you guys got any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you haven't already, when you put a comment, you will see that I generally respond. I know, you know, maybe one day if I'm big like Mr. Waltermeyer, the king of YouTube of Africa, maybe I won't be able to respond. I might have to hire me a team to respond for me. But, you know, in the meantime, I'm responding, and I appreciate your input. You know, I've got some really good information out of folks. They give me information about places that I should be looking when I come to South Africa. People talk to me about health care. If you got a gem you want to drop on our move to South Africa, or us trying to get to South Africa, or anything about doing business here and things I can invest in, things you might want to invest in, things you were thinking about, hey, drop a gem down in the comments, you know, so we can share this information with the world, because there's enough out here for all of us. We can all get some of this. So until next time, you guys, this is Darren again from Buckner Family Travels. I am out. Love you guys. Peace.